Hello and welcome to your Vedic Lunar Scope for today, the 12th of June, 2015. The moon today is in the early stages of Taurus and in the nakshatra of Ashwini. Ashwini is symbolized by a horse's head, the idea here being swiftness. And Ashwini generally brings in very swift-moving energy. As a matter of fact, all the nakshatras have a specific energy, also known as Shakti, that's associated with them. And the Shakti that's connected with Ashwini is the power to reach things quickly. So whenever Ashwini is in the equation, there's always very fast-moving energy that's associated with the situation. Ashwini is also connected with the Ashwins, which are the divine positions. And they always acted in a dharmically related manner. There's one story from Vedic mythology where a man was bitten by a snake, and the Ashwins were stepping in to heal the man until they were actually informed that the man had committed some horrendous crime. And so after being informed about that and understanding universal law, and that in connection with universal law, that it was the man's time to actually pass on to the other plane, the Ashwins decided actually to not help the man in that specific situation, right? So there's always dharma involved when it comes to Ashwini as well. It's a dharma-motivated nakshatra that's very swift moving. With the energy of the day, there's a sense that your heart is not fully behind something, but you're doing it and going ahead with the plan simply because you know that it's what's right to do. But there's a caution that needs to be associated with this, because your heart's not behind something, and when our heart isn't behind something, obviously we can't fake passion or fake motivation. And there's the danger that because of that being the particular case in association with the day, that things are going to get a little bit out of hand and perhaps chaotic. And then the very thing that you're trying to achieve or attain, or your specific goal for the day, is not going to come through to fruition in perhaps the manner that you wanted to. And due to this, you're going to likely find yourself making some adjustments and making some changes, jumping from one approach to another in order to try to get things through in the best manner possible, ultimately to find out that it probably would have been better to just kind of be a little more patient until the sense of drudgery that you're feeling in association with the situation begins to ease. Because feelings always change, they shift, they move on, right? And you're involved in a situation where if you try to fake it, well, you're not really going to make it, okay? It's just going to make it even more difficult because your heart isn't behind something. It doesn't mean you should necessarily give up, and it doesn't mean that you don't have work that you necessarily have to do towards this particular goal today. It just means that it's probably not going to go in the manner that you want it to. So when you hit those little hitches in your plan, just take a pause for a moment and take a breather and step away from it and reapproach it with a renewed sense of enthusiasm, even if it does end up being a situation where it's stop, start, over and over and over again, which is only appropriate with the energy of Ashwini today. The problem with Ashwini being ruled by Ketu, the south node, the energy that's associated with Ketu is not very positive in association with the day, so it's not able to really lend the support necessary to Ashwini Nakshatra that's necessary for a conducive amount of energy to be applied to the appropriate things so that they can become successful. The lunar tithi for today, in other words, the lunar day, is Krishna Ekadashi. It's the 11th day of the dark half of the moon. And in association with that, That's one of the causes behind the lack of a sense of passion. You're not happy, particularly with what you're having to do today, and so that's making it more difficult. The solar lunar yoga is atiganda, which means excessive joint. And in connection with Ashwini nakshatra, it means that you're likely going to find yourself, even though you're trying to be flexible and adapt with the circumstances at hand, you're likely going to find yourself in a position where you're being a little too flexible to the extent where things get a little bit chaotic. So rather than going through that particular level of events, why not take a step back every now and then go back into it? And just be patient with the process. It'll work itself through. Mercury is shifting back towards forward motion, and whenever that happens, it's always a little bit frustrating as Mercury begins to gather a little bit of extra momentum. Obviously, I don't know what area of your chart this is influencing, but if you would like for me to take a look at that, I could take a look at your personal birth chart for you, or even if you just have a particularly perplexing situation that you're dealing with. There's a link to my astrological services, which is down at the left-hand corner of this video. If you've closed that down, the link is also in the description area of the page. Please consider subscribing so you can show your support to these videos. In addition, you'll get a update every time there's a new video released. That's going to do it for your Vedic Lunar Scope for today, the 12th of June, 2015. Until next time, take care of yourself. Bye now.